Mortal Engines. So Mortal Engines is a movie based on a book, not directed by Peter Jackson. I clarify that because the marketing material had Peter Jackson's name front and center, the stuff I saw anyway. Peter Jackson had a hand in writing it, but you know, names, marketability. Point is, this takes place about 1,000 years in the future. We have wiped ourselves out. The humanity that survived rebuilt that civilization to be in cities that are on wheels. That's right, cities move around. I haven't seen mobile cities since I saw mobile schools in Final Fantasy VIII or Final Fantasy VI. The castle did that, but it went underground, so it's a little different. Point is, I see potential in the technology and cinema. Maybe I'll see a Final Fantasy VI movie one day. Maybe it won't suck. Maybe, because maybe they'll make it into a series like they probably should have this movie. All right, what I liked about the movie is the imagination. Like, the world's interesting. And yeah, that's me pretty much saying visuals cool, but the visuals were pretty cool. Suspending disbelief that it's all completely illogical, and you see in this movie why it's illogical. A couple of the cities like, you mean if we take those out, that'll come crashing down? All right, we did. But it just makes for interesting worlds. And the first act of this movie, maybe the first half of the first act of this movie, it was actually quite exciting. There was a chase sequence with two cities. There was a chase sequence among people in a city. While they're running through the city, you see how it operates. I just kind of thought of Colombia, but not in the air. But really, the moment the youth fall off the city, the moment they go over the rail, this movie falls off the rails. By falls off the rails, I mean kind of grinds to a halt. It starts getting messy, starts getting sloppy. Too many plot lines are thrown at you. But this is one of the tough things about adapting a book to a movie. There's so much that happens in a book, you gotta cut things out. I'm sure they did cut things out for this. Never read the book, so I don't know for sure. But they just didn't cut enough. Like, I forgot for so long in this movie that this girl's sole focus is to kill Hugo Weaving because he killed her mother. Because I didn't care. I didn't care about that plot line that's so important to the plot. I didn't care about the romance. Are they forming a romance? There is a romance, right? Are they still making young adult novels? Is that fad still a thing? The foreshadowing's way too obvious too. At a point you're like, let me guess. That's coming at the end. And anytime a movie has a couple different groups and a couple different locations doing their own campaign, you have to make it work. This movie does not do that. Most of the time you're with the YA romance novel people. Then it bounces back to London. You're like, oh yeah, them. I forgot about them, and that's never good. The coolest thing in this movie was a side plot that really didn't mix with the main plot at all, but it has to do with this robot zombie. He was cool. I was most interested in him. He was awesome. He was the best part of the movie. He was like, if Tin Man and the Terminator had a kid, there's the thing I will remember about this movie, so you probably should have made a movie about that. Then again, I'm sure the book isn't based on that, so how could they? Maybe you should have integrated that plot into this movie better and left out that scene when they're in that little caterpillar thing. Not really a caterpillar, it's a vehicle that looks like a caterpillar. Cut a lot of that out and concentrate on the robo-zombie. If for nothing else, this movie shows me that this should have been a series. I get that this would have been difficult to adapt into a series, because how do you muster up the budget to show that? You really can't, not for a series. I don't know, all I'm saying is adapting something like this to a movie is just gonna cost someone money. Watch, it makes this budget back, I'm gonna look like an asshole. Guys, in the end, Mortal Engines wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It's not good enough for me to say, yeah, you should watch it. It's forgettable. When I walk out of a movie, I'm like, what's the rewatchability there? And it's not rewatchable. It should have been about a half an hour shorter. It's filled with illogic. Not illogic in terms of like, cities can't be mobile. Not like that. I'm saying in the end, you have the tech head who should go do the thing to stop the super death machine, and they send the girl. She knows shit about tech. He should have definitely been the one to go do the job. Or make her the tech head. Then you can send her. The coolest thing about this movie is that it's a really imaginative, interesting world. Biggest bummer is they didn't take that interesting, imaginative world and put it in a movie that works. Having an interesting concept isn't enough. You have to make the movie flow. I expected nothing from this movie. After the first act, I was really rooting for it. Didn't pay off as well as I would have liked. And I'll say it'd probably be better if you were drunk. Yeah, no, it's party. All right, so Mortal Engines, have you seen it? What did you think about it? All right, when you don't watch this, what's another one? In Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, who is your main? Whoever it is, comment below, let me know. Couldn't think of anything else. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.